What happened to Doey the Doughman? At first, Doey seemed like an ally, a cheerful pal who helped us when we were in danger. He was different from other playtime co-experiments. He wasn't like Huggy Wuggy or even Kissy Missy. Doey could speak and reason with us. He questions things, even shows hesitation. But when we made the choice to follow Poppy's plan and destroy the factory, everything changed. He split before our eyes, almost as if another presence within him took control. So what happened to him? Was this always his fate, or was something influencing him from the very beginning? To understand the truth, we need to analyze his behavior, his origins, and the evidence hidden deep within the depths of the factory. Our first interaction with Doey comes when the ground beneath our feet crumbles and we end up face to face with Pianosaurus. Before we can run, two doe hands reach out from the shadows, devouring him.
I just fell headfirst right into this man's territory. Listen, bro. Listen, I know I have a wife, I have some kids, I have a nice, loving family. Listen. Oh! Who is that? Doey! Get rid of that man!
We're left to wonder if this creature's hostile, but before we can even make that decision, Doey smiles and calls us pal. Learning that he was expecting us, he leads us down to Safe Haven, a shelter for the last of the toys, away from the chaos. As we spend more time with Doey, something feels off. Unlike Kissy Missy, who doesn't speak, Doey is not just helping us out of kindness or obligation. He was skeptical about Poppy's plan to destroy the factory. From the moment of the explosion, something inside Doey snaps. The friendly, fun-loving Doughman we met is gone. He starts talking to himself, but not the kind we've seen before. He's arguing and pleading, struggling with something inside him. It's like a battle unfolding, but it's not between us and Doey. It's between Doey and himself, who was once our ally and is now our foe, has forced us into a fight of survival. We run, freeze, and saw him apart, with one question still lingering in the back of everyone's mind, even after his death. What made Doey act like this? Earlier in the game, we see him speaking privately with Poppy. Their conversation is tense, kept on the low, and he disagrees with her wanting to blow up the factory, not willing to risk losing his family for the sake of revenge. He even goes as far as to scold Poppy for abandoning them, as he won't just blindly accept orders from her. He's not a mindless monster driven to chase, to force us to run. He reasons and makes his voice heard.
So the pipes look way long.
It's the best for everyone, Doey. That no trace of this place is left. We agree to that.
I know, but us, everyone in there, we're not just things gone wrong. We're people. Can't you see that?
I can. And I'm sorry.
They look up to me, Poppy, and I've looked after them the best I could. You disappeared. You left us. We looked and we looked, and there was just nothing. No sign of you.
Meanwhile, Poppy in Chapter 2 forces our hand at every turn. She derails the train, sending us to Playcare against our will. She has always been pushing us forward, deeper into the factory, whether we like it or not. And then there's Doey's frustration. When Poppy leaves, Doey says he was forced to run everything. He and the other toys were left behind. With many injured and possibly killed, he was forced into a position of authority, protecting Safe Haven while Poppy continued her own plan. Maybe this created resentment towards her? Could he have been growing bitter long before the explosion? Then, when we first arrive to Safe Haven, as Kissy Missy grabs us and Poppy tells us to be quiet, Doey gets frustrated at her, then immediately relaxes, saying, "We will talk about this later."
I'll check the defenses. something's still outside.
Not just something. It's him. He's out there.
You brought him down?
Oh no, this dude about to tweak out. It's the prototype, bro. Can't get mad at her.
Talk about this later.
We witnessed the tension and the clear power struggle between the two. From then on, once the factory is bombed and we find Doey in the destroyed safe haven, every word he says is filled with brokenness. He begins to argue with himself, trying to plead our case to another voice we hear, which leads us to a question. What if Doey was never just one person? To understand this, let's go back to childhood. Have you ever played with Play-Doh? Because there were two strict rules that parents used to mention all the time with it. Never leave it out and never mix the colors. If Play-Doh is left out for too long, it dries, becoming brittle and cracked. Basically, it becomes unstable. When you mix 2 or 3 colors together, you can never separate them again. The original formula is gone, being made into something new, something impure. Now, let's apply this logic to Doey. Just like Play-Doh, Doey seems to crack under stress. When the factory was bombed and the destruction was revealed to him, we see him split mentally and physically. It's as if his body is no longer able to hold itself together. But what if he was never stable to begin with? If his material was a weakness from the start, prolonged exposure to stress could have caused this complete breakdown. Now, how about when it comes to mixing colors? Could that be the corruption of his identity? The more Play-Doh is mixed, the less distinct the original colors become. What if Doey is the same? His erratic behavior, constant internal conflict, and even his multicolored hands suggest he may not be a singular consciousness, but rather a mixture of multiple minds struggling for dominance. Playtime Co. has a history of combining things, human body parts and toys, bodies fused together, and all the experiments trying to function as one, for the sake of bigger and better toys for profit. What if Doey is a failed attempt at merging those personalities into a single entity? The more they interact, the harder it becomes to tell them apart. This seems to add up, as we see it is harder for him to decipher which personality communicates with him as his emotions intensify. Just like Play-Doh that has been mixed too much.
Hurt.
I knew it.
Everything.
I knew it.
Hurts.
I knew it.
Hurt back.
I called it.
Always.
I freaking called it. He's about to attack.
Parents, scientists.
Look at that belly.
Everyone
Look at that belly.
have to.
Get out of it. Get out of it.
Friends. He killed my friend.
Sorry, Doey. It's okay, Doey. Don't attack me, though. What?
It all started with you.
No, I was forced here.
You and her.
I was forced here, bro.
It was you who ruined everything.
What is going on?
No, that's not true. They jump-started the generator.
I told y'all he's bipolar.
And lastly, Play-Doh is not just ruined by exposure or by mixing colors together. It can also be by overuse. The more it's stretched, pressed, and manipulated, the weaker its structure becomes. It loses elasticity, becoming crumbly and fragile. Doey admits that when Poppy left, he had to run everything. If we take into consideration that Play-Doh is soft and meant to be handled gently, what if he was never built to take on that kind of responsibility? If his mind was not constantly being stretched in different directions, being forced to be something he was never designed to be, and with being abandoned by Poppy like he was previously as a child, then his final breakdown is not just an accident. It was inevitable. Now, let's look into the physical evidence that Playtime Co. gives us. In the first of 3 tapes that are about Doey, we meet Jack, one of the possible 3 children we later come to know as the colorful ball of dough.
Ooh, y'all heard how it rhymed like that?
But in this tape, Kevin reunites with his father and mother. Not knowing who they are anymore, he becomes violent. From the VHS, we can hear him brutally killing his mother while his father pleads with the workers to let him out. And then the tape ends.
Oh, George, that's our boy, Jackie.
Why does he look like that? What did you do to him?
Stop it, George. Just stop. That's our son in there, our son.
Dear, look at it. That's not even human.
Let's just talk to him. You'll see. Let's just go in there and talk to him. Can we? Can we talk to him?
Yes, ma'am, you certainly can. Go on in, whenever you're ready.
Jack, I want you to know, I'm so sorry. I've never forgiven myself for what happened. I played it all back 1,000,000 times in my head, and I know there had to be something I could have done. I could have reached just a little further. I could have noticed a little sooner. I could have. But we have you back now. That's what's important. We can...
Who are you?
Jack? Honey, it's me. It's Mommy.
Mommy?
Yes. Yes! It's Mommy and Daddy. You remember, don't you?
Leave me alone.
Hey, you'll be okay, I promise. Mommy's only here to talk.
No, I don't want to talk. Get out!
Susan, I think we should leave.
Jackie, I'm staying right here. I'm not leaving you, not ever again. Do you hear me?
The gentle voices lie. I know what they do. They lie, and they poke, and they hurt.
Susan, get away from me!
Jack? Mommy won't lie to you, Jackie. Mommy won't hurt you. I'd never hurt you.
Hey! Open this door! Oh, God. Susan! Please! Open the door! Please!
The phrase he says stands out, almost as if it was spoken with a sense of urgency, possibly Doey recognizing a deeper truth. However, this isn't the only time we hear this. This resurfaces way later in the game, repeated under very different circumstances. What circumstances, you ask? When we ended up crushing him after our fight, causing his death.
Get him! That's what I'm talking about.
Anyone! The gentle voices lie! You lie!
But what does it really mean? Who or what are the gentle voices, and why does he repeat it? It's definitely worth thinking about, and also worth making an entirely new video for. So be sure to be on the lookout for that. But could this tape be the first time anyone at Playtime Co. witnessed his violence? In the second tape, colored green, we hear that Doey excels at everything. However, during moments of intense play, something changes and he becomes violent. And this chilling line is mentioned.
After a brief interruption, we've successfully extracted subject 1322, specifically 1322B, from the Home Sweet Home. Before said interruption, I attempted to detail the subject's condition and overview the suitability of one Kevin Barnes in relation to Project Doey. The neural abnormalities noted in Dr. Newman's report are detailed in connection to behavioral issues demonstrated within play care. Trouble getting along with others, aggressive and often confrontational social tendencies, and an otherwise combative nature clearly relay that Kevin is, put simply, a problem child. What friends he does have, he's reported to have attacked in moments of intense play. These tendencies raise concerns. The subject excels in all physical tests. Reflexes, reaction time, and mental fortitude all tested well above average in game station examinations. So, in spite of said concerns, in Dr. Sawyer's eyes, Kevin is ideal for the project. However, if his use in this particular experiment is to move forward, we need to ensure we're not creating a time bomb just as we've begun stabilizing the entire project. If we're to create an experiment that can fulfill multiple assigned roles, we can't allow any single consciousness to throw the others off. Even a simple misregulation of emotions means we have 900 pounds of dough that can shift however it pleases and can turn on even those it trusts, simply because it was overwhelmed by a stray feeling. Regardless, Sawyer's word is law, and subjects 1322A and C are to be gathered for processing first thing tomorrow morning. Thus, all we can do is plan our safeguards accordingly.
Think about the wording. It is specific with using implementation, not creation or even the word testing. This suggests that they, the children, were already chosen, waiting to be plunged inside of Doey. Was Doey part of a merging process? Or different personalities being forced into his body? Anything's possible. This is Playtime Co. after all. And with the final VHS tape, we make a shocking discovery. Doey sets up a recording, hoping that this tape will come across someone in the future. He explains how he's trying to keep his head on straight, the struggles with his own emotions, his responsibility, and his very existence. He then sends chills down our spine with this very line. Ooh, that rhymes too.
I'm not sure if this thingy is on, but I need to talk, and I can't talk about this with anyone else. For the past few months, the fighting's been bad. Real bad. I've seen a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't. It's been hard to keep my head straight. The others, they look to me to know what to do, to know where to go. For a long while, we had Poppy to tell us, go here, go there, do this, and it all made sense, too. Poppy was nice. I can't find Poppy anywhere. I don't know what happened or where she went, but it's scary here without her. Maybe she ran, just like I have. I'm here, outside the prison, in front of... I'd almost forgotten it was all here. And seeing this again, it's given me reason to think. I could make for the exit. It's all I'd wanted for the longest time. But there are others inside. Others that aren't like me. They're hungry and scared like I am, but they're not me. They can't go where I can. But they mean a lot to me. A lot more than I thought they did.
We've seen Playtime Co. merge things before. The prototype is living proof that he's doing just that. Imagine what he'll create with all the bodies, minds, and souls, all of it stitched together into something unnatural. Could Doey have been talking about the other toys in the factory, starving and scared? Or was he truly hinting at the sinister experimentation that led to multiple children residing within him? Could his body be that of a mixture of multiple minds kneaded together like Play-Doh? Could his hesitation be the rational part of him fighting back? The sudden turn against us being the other personalities under the influence of the prototype? Or the crash of his body and mind breaking under the pressure? If Doey is not trying to purposefully attack us, maybe this is his final resort to protect us, even if that means sacrificing himself for the greater good. Remember, he said that the factory should not be destroyed. He did not want things to end this way, and yet, when we went through with Poppy's plan, he lost control, almost as if it was orchestrated. What if, in his final moments, Doey was desperately trying to warn us before it was too late? Then, when he crashed, it was a total shutdown, like a machine being turned on and off, a creature being silenced before they could tell us the truth. This raises even more questions. Doey's story might be connected to something even more unsettling. In the beginning VHS tape, we see a child who we now know as Jack. It's Christmas morning, and he's excited, ready to open his gift. It turns out to be a Doey the Doughman figurine, and when the invitation took him to Playtime Co., an absolute freak accident happens. We see Jack die in a huge vat of dough. In the VHS tape that we find around Home Sweet Home in Chapter 3, we come across 1322, The Void. Here, Joseph, a concerned friend of Kevin's, asks if he'll be alright. The voice assures the young boy that he is only in a deep sleep. He'll be perfectly fine. And as for Matthew, who was the eldest child in Playcare, could he be the third and final child inside of Doey?
Subject is stable. Designated 1322. Clear neural abnormalities were detected in his recent checkup, though highly irregular. We pulled him from the Home Sweet Home just before lights out to perform.
What are you doing with my friend?
What are you doing out of bed? How did you get in here?
Is Kevin sick? Why did you take him away?
Yes. Kevin is very sick. Very, very sick. But we want to make him better. But he can only get better if we take him to where we can provide proper care and give him proper rest.
Well, do you really think he will be okay?
I should think so. We're good at what we do, son. We paid attention in school, learned, and got our proper rest when we needed it. Just like you need it now, I should think. Come now, let's get you on back to bed.
Okay.
It's been a pleasure meeting you, Joseph. And I promise you, your friend will be all right. When you see him again, he'll have never been better.
The picture at the beginning of the commercial seems to suggest that someone older, more intelligent, and competent is what the Playtime Co. scientists were looking for, and he was just that. Or could this be a cover-up for Jack's accident that Playtime Co. saw an opportunity to profit on? The main takeaway for this video is that Doey the Doughman was needed, manipulated, and left to rot. Maybe, just maybe, he was trying to warn us before it was too late.